What's up, guys? In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to become a sponsored athlete. Now, I've gotten this question as of late, especially coming off of the Arnold Classic, where there is, thousands of vendors and people are walking around potentially looking to be sponsored. And I'll tell you this right now, that may not be the best place to be sponsored, is to walk around with thousands of other people trying to do the same thing. So I'm going to go over a few tips that I have for you guys in order to help you become a sponsored athlete, and I'll give you some of my own individual feedback of kind of where I'm at in my current state of eventually becoming potentially sponsored by a supplement company. So first and foremost, when looking to be sponsored either by a supplement company, a clothing brand, what have you, I would suggest actually taking their products or using their products so you could talk to other people about them, and it's going to be a lot more natural. It's when you reach out to a company and you don't use their products, you don't take their products, it's really hard to sell it to somebody else because they'll be like, oh, well, do you personally use their products? And you're like, well, no, I just started recently. And see, it kind of goes down a bad avenue when you take that route. So I would suggest using the products that you're interested in, and then going to the company and be like, hey, I've been taking your guys' products for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. I really like them. Like, here's what I can do for you guys. Do you have any kind of opportunities? So number one is use their products and be able to talk to other people about their products. Secondly, I would say when inquiring with some kind of company, shooting into someone's DMs, shooting into the CEO's DMs is probably, once again, not the right avenue to take. So instead of shooting them a quick message, hey, are you offering sponsorships? They're going to ignore that right away, and personally, I would ignore that as well because that just shows very, very little lack of effort going into it. So instead, what I would personally recommend is crafting a fitness resume or some kind of resume, depending on what kind of organization you're trying to get into. And then find the contact person, whether it is the president, CEO, or if it's a small company, it might just be, one person or two people running it. So find out the contact person and email them directly. Craft an email and send it to them. And then be professionally persistent afterwards. Follow up with them, as you see fit. So you could see how that method would be a little bit superior to one of just sliding into someone's DM saying, hey, are you offering sponsorships? So first and foremost, if you put that together, if you're using their products and then you find the contact person, you actually take the time to craft an email, craft a resume, and send it to the contact person, that's going to show that you're putting in that more effort. Up next, what I'd recommend for sponsorships or potential sponsorships is look for a company if they have some kind of a program. So for example, obviously you guys know that I work with Core Nutritionals. No, I'm not a sponsored athlete. I'm technically a representative for them. But we came out with this program. It started, I guess, it's over a year old now because the Arnold Classic was kind of about to kick off last year. So we have an ambassador program, and some of these companies out there, a lot of these companies, especially now because it's starting to become a trend, have ambassador programs where you could kind of work your way up to potentially become a sponsored athlete. And that's where currently I am now. So Core technically has they group it into two categories, even though there's three. There's the sponsored athletes, and then there's the Crushateers, the ambassador program. I was a representative before the Crushateers program, but they just condensed the two, so now it's the representatives and the Crushateers and the sponsored athletes. There's nothing in between anymore. Those are the two categories. But with the Crushateer system, with the ambassador program, you could potentially work your way up in the tier system, which I have, and then in the future they could potentially offer you employment and or a sponsorship. But here's the thing. It's when you go to a company just because you've competed at your first show, or just because you're even someone like myself who's competed for a couple years now and has done okay. I have not gone to Core and be like, hey, how come I'm not a sponsored athlete? Because if you look at a company and pick your favorite company, whatever that may be, I'm just talking about Core right now because obviously that's the one that I know the best. If you look at our sponsored athletes, you have multi-world champions up there. You have top fitness coaches up there. People with a lot of influence on their specific marketplace. So if you're someone who maybe has that, or maybe is growing to that, maybe yes, you can be a sponsored athlete. But you have to do something extraordinary if you want to become a sponsored athlete. And that's why these people that are on, that have thousands of followers on Instagram, maybe even hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, they have a large reach over their audience. And one important thing to note is you don't necessarily have to have a huge reach, but you just have to have a lot of influence over your particular group. So take me, for example. My following isn't all that big, and I'm quite all right with that, but my reach over the people that I train and the people who follow me is, I would say, fairly great. I feel like a lot of the people who follow me actually listen to what I have to say, so it's not just falling on deaf ears. So what I would say lastly is be someone to look for information to in the industry. So people come for me for advice. They listen to what I have to say, they watch videos like this, what I have to say, and they look up to me. So if people look up to me and they say, man, Brandon's got some good information to say, oh man, he also takes Core Nutritionals products, well, maybe they'll go out and buy some Core Nutritionals products or something along those lines. So it's, take their products, it's find someone who to contact after crafting a resume, build some influence over your small, group of people, and then realize that it's not just going to happen overnight. You have to start from scratch from a lot of us, and I've built myself up, but it's taken me years and years and years, and I'm still not at the point of being sponsored. And maybe next time I go to compete, if I compete in the World Championships, and maybe I'm going to be contending for a World Championship spot next time around 3-4 years from now, maybe then will Core offer me a sponsorship, a true athlete sponsorship. But the thing is you can't expect it. You can't ask for it to be given to you. You have to earn it. And that's the last thing I'll finish with is, when you're looking for these different supplement companies, you have to earn it. Don't expect it to be given to you just because you happen to show up or slide in the DMs of, the contact person. So that's it, guys, for today's video. Hopefully you learned something. I'll see you soon.